then you kind of lose who you are. If your job is to kind of freely point out that these people suck and you find out that maybe they don't, you might lose an audience. You might you might end up like if you're going and I've seen it on your show when you veer.
I've lost audience. Before many times, and I don't care. I care because it'd be great if it did.
Imagine Bill Maher, who is typically seen as a voice of reason, and Greg Gutfeld, the club's oddball star and a provocateur in his own right, clashing over the contentious issue of awake vs cancel culture, following the fireworks that exploded on his podcast Asterisk. It was like lighting a match in a room filled of highly flammable, active items. The mayor believes that awakened culture may have gone too far in fostering an atmosphere in which individuals are reluctant to express their opinion.
Was about, and then some of them, I watched Rain Man again. I thought it held up pretty well. But again, you couldn't make it because, like he says the R word a million times. That kind of stuff. We're like in kindergarten now, where we have to say pee-pee and poo-poo and R word. And
Animal House. I think Animal House still holds up, but you could not do that movie, especially in the nightclub scene. Do you mind if we dance with your dates? That whole thing would never happen. It would never happen. That's the first time I ever saw
But it's every movie. It's every movie. It's every. I mean, any movie made even 10 years ago, and there's something there that you if you really examine who you are, you probably are not offended at all. We all laughed at this stuff and it wasn't terribly, we know when something's terribly offensive. But when you hear it now in 2023, you hunch up because not because of it itself, but because the reaction it will cause.
Yes.
You're going to have to listen to people bitching about this and posturing and pretending they're so offended and it's so terrible. And that's what's going to be so.
And they're not. That's the thing. They're not offended.
Well,
they're not. No one's really offended, I think.
Well,
because you can, when you say.
People are offended and some things are offensive.
Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of like when I said, you Google people who are dead. When you're offensive, if you just waited 10 seconds.
Without holding back, Gutfeld exposes the hypocrisy of political correctness. Click subscribe right now if you like content that is honest and bold. What started out as a light-hearted club random asterisk with Bill Maher swiftly descended into a heated argument on free speech, authenticity, and woke culture. Maher acknowledged that he worries about losing supporters if he doesn't entirely share progressive viewpoints, a worry Gutfeld addressed directly. Let's get started. Welcome aboard.
If your job is to kind of freely point out that these people suck and you find out that maybe they don't, you might lose an audience. You might end up if you're going and I've seen it on your show when you veer.
I've lost audience. Before many times, and I don't care. I care because it'd be great if it didn't happen. But my real bond with my audience is that I never pull a punch. And I never. I have lost people who were think I'm conservative now, and I have not changed, I don't think, at all.
No.
I think the politics has changed and the people have changed. But I don't think that it makes me a conservative to, think things that are crazy are crazy. And forcing me to say so doesn't help. There's just too much forced conformity. And there's no thinking out loud.
That's like walking a tightrope. One mistake and you're out.
Here, I can exert some kind of power, get somebody to apologize. And it feels good. It feels good if I can get 1,000 retweets that Bill Maher said this and what an asshole and then it happens. It's but your life doesn't change. My life doesn't change by doing that. But I feel like I did something, and I think that's been driving a lot of this shit.
The phone made people assholes. Full stop. It allows you to just be so fucking cowardly, anonymous, shady, fake, all these shitty qualities it brought out in people. So the fact that I was always seen as kind of a cynic about humans, I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that they are really, humans are not good people.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know. Well, we're definitely sinners.
But in particular, Gutfeld refused to hear him. By claiming that author honesty should take precedence above popularity, he successfully challenged the Maher and emphasized the necessity of overcoming the fear of public reaction. According to ACC Gutfeld, the woke mob is more interested in flaunting its influence than voicing genuine indignation. They are like social media magicians who trick others into dancing for a few likes and retweets.
It's a bathroom wall, so you can write things on it and not be held accountable. But
it has repercussions, and a bathroom wall doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It destroys
all
careers.
All you do is go in there and roll your eyes because you're reading.
Do you remember that girl that made that joke who, before she was leaving to fly to South Africa?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and she said, "I hope I don't get AIDS." That's a joke about America and about how we don't care about. And I remember that was the first Twitter.
Yeah.
I think it's the first cancel culture moment.
I mean, if they haven't made a movie on it, they should.
Yeah.
Because by the time she got off the plane, her life was over.
There were people at the airport waiting for her because it felt so good to get somebody. And I can't remember her name, but I don't like what happened to her. I'm going to Google her when we're done.
No, there used to be, if something like that happened, I think there was this allowance for someone to then go, "Oh, fuck, okay, you got me. It was a brain fart. I'm sorry, you're right. That was a shitty thing to do." And that was that.
Yeah.
And that should be all that, because people, what I hate is the bad faith of people who know that this person isn't a horrible person, but I'm going to wreck your life anyway. Because of this one misstep and not a hanging offense.
Yeah.
Especially if you own it. But with these people, it's never good enough.
Yeah. I would say that.
Just like blood.
I would say that I was guilty of that, though. Like, in the beginning, it's when.
Furthermore, they immediately jumped into the subject of comedy censorship, which they are both all too familiar with from Gutfeld's criticisms of humor's limitations, comparing it to chopping off the elements that give comedy its genuine humor. Bill Maher is renowned for his razor-sharp humor and unapologetic opinions, but in this case, he was struggling with the very qualities that have made him a brilliant comedian. It's amazing to see him struggle with inconsistencies during the conversation. It's similar to kindergarten, but the playground is Twitter, and everyone is a self-appointed vigilant with hashtags.
The majority of the years that I've done real time from the same studio at CBS here in Hollywood, 20 years, the first, I would say, at least 15, I was probably fighting with the audience, at least once a show. It was very rare I had an audience that didn't like ooh and ah something. Then somebody did some, part of it was the pandemic. We had to get a smaller audience.
Right.
And so somehow they knew how to get rid of just the groaners.
Yeah.
And so we stuck with it even after the pandemic ended, and we could have as many as we want now. But I was like, no, I'd much rather have this half filled, but they're the good people who they can laugh at both sides.
Right.
They cheer both things. They cheer common sense.
However, he was acknowledging that he was swayed by public opinion, and he told Gutfeld that he frequently finds himself confused by how the audience views him.
It's not their best. Everything that's going on right now in our lives is based on people taking the worst intention.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter if you're a conservative and you don't like liberals, you will take the worst example of a liberal, and a liberal will take the worst example of a conservative, and they both are almost identical. Like, the squad is the same as whoever you want to call on the conservative side. They're exactly the same.
There is a lot of that.
Yeah, and and the thing is, it's really funny when I make fun of Ilhan Omar, and then she'll say something that I agree with. And I'm like
what?
She was pretty good. That's a good question. There were two things that she said. She was pissed off about what was going on in Palestine. Not Palestine, but Palestine.
Oh.
And, yeah.
I blame you.
It wasn't Palestine.
I was...
But she was talking about but there were some other things that she said that I thought were like, wow, that's pretty libertarian. Because generally, she's kind of scary. But, like, maybe she's not as bad as I think she is. But what happens if you start feeling that way about everybody? Then you kind of lose who.
Gutfeld didn't mince words when he criticized Maher for being cautious in a society where social acceptance frequently comes at the expense of the truth. Gutfeld remained steadfast, maintaining that authenticity is more important than calming uproar, even as Maher displayed indications of internal conflict, torn between his record of pushing limits and today's cancel-ready culture. Their conflict exposed opposing viewpoints on a larger issue. Speak up without fear of repercussions or be cautious to maintain influence. Which do you believe was correct, Maher's cautious balancing or Gutfeld's unafraid honesty? Let's discuss it in the comments section.